Welcome to the Emily the Mystic Show. You're about to walk through a portal that leads to all things mystical, magical, spiritual, and supernatural. I'm your host, Emily. I'm a spiritual mentor, an Akashic Records practitioner and teacher, an intuition development coach, and a galactic channeler. If you're an old soul on a self-discovery and healing journey, you are in the right place. We'll be diving in deep to some of my favorite mystical topics, including manifestation, past lives, the spirit world, energy, and so much more. Get ready to embrace your inner mystic and live your most authentic life possible. The portal is now open. Welcome to September, beautiful soul, and your September energy forecast with me, your host, Emily of Emily the Mystic. Wow, the fall season is almost upon us. I cannot believe it. I don't know about you, but I have felt like I've been in a little bit of a time warp over the last month and a half, especially. I feel like time has just been flying by, especially the month of August went by so freaking fast. I feel like I just filmed an energy update for you, so I don't know where the time went, but here we are again with a new month, with new energies, new things to expect, new things to talk about. So as always, I can't wait to get into it today with you. I know you guys absolutely love these energy forecast episodes. They're some of my most requested, most downloaded, favorite episodes of you, my listener. So I hope you enjoy, as always, the channeling that comes through during this particular episode. If you're new here, welcome. Here's what to expect during the course of this episode today. I'm going to kick us off with some personal and business updates and some different things that I have going on that may be of interest to you. And then we'll dive into an Akashic Records forecast for the month of September. As I am an Akashic Records teacher and practitioner myself, I channel the collective Akasha for the purpose of this energy update, this energy forecast. And I do a little bit of live channeling. You're going to experience my channel being open in the moment as we go through some of the energies to expect during the month ahead. So as with any channeled information, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And today I'm really excited because my guides gave me a really fun idea, which was to do a little personal reading for you at the end of this episode. I have a brand new deck of cards that I can't wait to use with you. And you're going to have the opportunity to use your intuition to pick a card for yourself that's going to be some of the energy to expect for you personally during the month of September. So that's going to be super fun. That's new. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you towards the end of this episode. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we're going to get into it. Guys, this is not my favorite news to deliver to you, although in fact, this year I'm changing my perspective around this. I am going to say that I am looking forward this year to eclipse season, which begins this month during the month of September. So that's going to be a really big theme that we're going to be talking a lot about during the course of this episode. And I know, typically the vibe is that eclipse season is something that brings up a lot for a lot of people. So you may have a complicated relationship with eclipse season. But today I am really hoping to leave you with an empowered and inspired outlook and approach for you to approach this eclipse season, maybe with a new mindset, a new energy, being a new version of you, so that perhaps you can be empowered by this eclipse season and not disempowered or wanting to hide in your house and not deal with the world. So we're going to get into that, of course, today. So this episode is going to be all about eclipse season, which begins during the month of September, and some of the other different energies that are going on that you should keep in mind. Now, I do like to start these episodes by sharing some different personal updates because I don't do a whole lot of solo episodes on this podcast. So I like to kind of fill you in on what's going on for me in my life and business. So you can be right alongside of me with the journey that I'm on as a spiritual business owner. August for me, yes, it moved really quickly, but it was one of those really expansive months for me this year. August has been a really, really great month for me. It's opened a lot of doors, and I've really felt some massive shifts in my own life. And when I say massive, I'm not saying like, oh my God, I made these big life changes. No, I'm saying massive internal shifts that have helped me feel like I'm on a different path than perhaps I was a few months ago, and that are helping me make different decisions and see things from a new point of view. So, for example, I'm a Gemini moon. If you're not familiar with astrology, basically what that means, your moon sign represents your self-care, your internal world, the things that you love to do when you're alone and so forth. And Gemini is a sign of intellectual curiosity and expansive learning and constantly wanting to engage in learning new things and experiencing new things. It's a very mental energy. And so, as a Gemini moon, it's really important for me to constantly be learning something. I love to learn. I am a lifelong learner, and perhaps you resonate with that too, listening to this podcast. So, I kind of felt a little bit bored with what I had kind of going on in my personal life. So, I decided to invest in 2 new courses that I'm currently still going through at this moment in time as I film this episode. I'm taking a course on the nervous system, and I'm taking a course in an astrology timing technique that you may have heard me mention during the episode I filmed on manifestation, episode number 33. Anyway, what's really important about this journey is that both of these course portals that I've been taking have really opened up new doors for me in terms of my own personal growth journey and in terms of me seeing the world in a new way. Particularly with the nervous system course, because a big part of the work that I do with the Akashic Records is I help facilitate transformation for my private clients, as well as my clients who take my Akashic Records certification. So we talk about trauma. We talk about really heavy stuff. We talk about the deep stuff that can come up in your life and in your past lives as well. So I know that as a facilitator and a practitioner, I need to be able to hold space for my clients. And learning about the nervous system is a new way for me to take a look at being a better space holder, being a better leader, being even a better channel, because I also have to take care of my nervous system too. And this course has really helped me regain a new perspective on 2 things that I've really struggled with in the past. One is transitions, and 2, doing the hard things. So August and September are very transitional months. Kids start going back to school. We kind of start developing maybe new routines. We get involved in new projects and things during, this time of the year as we head into fall. And I typically struggle with transitions. I struggle with transitions as a kid. I had a really hard time going back to school. I really didn't like school when I was a kid. Was a good student. I got good grades because I had to show up and I had to be there, but I would have preferred not to be in school at all. I don't know anyone who really loves school, if we're being honest, but for me, it just wasn't my vibe. So I had a really hard time at this time of the year going back to school. And that pattern can stay with you. That's a nervous system patterning. So if you have struggled with transitions in the past, maybe your kids struggle with transitions with heading back to school, this time of year can be really challenging because you're sort of up against, and all the marketing and all the stores out there who've got their back to school items and who are starting to put the fall products out there. You can have this sort of negative reaction going into the fall season. And yes, of course, like fall, there are a lot of fun things. Like I love spooky season. I love me a pumpkin spice latte. Like I love the cozy sweaters and the fall blankets and the apple picking and the pumpkins. Like I'm all about that. And also I have a really hard time letting go of the summer season. So for me, learning to work with my nervous system has really helped me navigate this transitional time of year with a lot more grace, because it's almost forcing me to be more conscientious and aware of my emotional state every single moment of every single day, to be aware of how I am feeling moment by moment by moment. And for many of us who live our lives dissociated, pushing down our feelings, not wanting to, pay attention to your body and how it's feeling, that can be really uncomfortable. So it's really forced me to be like, yeah, I'm having some sadness about summer being over. And yeah, it's transitions are hard for me. And that's been my story in the past. But I can choose a new story for myself, and I can start repatterning myself to see transitions as being a positive thing for me. So that's really one thing I've been working on. And then the other thing that I mentioned was getting more comfortable with doing the hard stuff. And when you get comfortable with your heavier emotions, when you get comfortable with being in your body, it makes it easier for you to move through the resistance that can come up when it comes to doing the hard things. And by the hard things, I mean the things that we procrastinate on every single day, myself included. The tasks that you know that are going to get you ahead, that are going to help you get somewhere, that are going to help you get to your goals and your desires, but that are really uncomfortable for you to sit there and do. Things like, for me as a business owner, sitting down in front of a Google Doc and planning my business out for the next few months, for the rest of the year, actually. Or sitting down in front of your bank accounts and taking a look at your spending from the previous month. Things that, for me, I'm an avoidant person. If you're familiar with the attachment styles, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, I'm an avoidant person. So that means that I typically live in flight mode. I like to run from the hard things. I would prefer to be doing anything else than sitting and doing the hard things. So I've really been learning this month that when I can hold space for myself, when the resistance comes up, when I don't want to do it, when I'm feeling like my inner child is throwing a tantrum and she would rather be watching TV or running around outside than sitting in front of a Google spreadsheet, that she can do it. And that on the other side, it feels really good to get some of those hard things done. And you feel proud of yourself and you feel accomplished. So that's really what I've been working on this month. And I feel like that's a really important thing to keep in mind. So I'm just going to give you a quick tip here, because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and I really encounter, especially with people who want to have a business, that incorporating the daily consistent business activities like posting on social media, like reaching out to potential clients, like writing copy for your website, can create a lot of resistance. And so you put these things off for days and weeks, and maybe you end up posting once a week to social media, and then you feel frustrated because there are no clients coming in. So I work with a lot of clients who have a hard time with that. And just a tip for you, if that's really lighting up for you, or anything else in your life, if you've got a goal of something you want to do, like maybe it's a health goal and you're having a really hard time getting yourself to the gym, and you have it in mind, you're like, I want to get to the gym, I want to go. But when you go to get the gym clothes on, or when you go to get up early and your alarm goes off, you're like, no, I need that extra sleep. So you fall back asleep and you don't end up going to the gym. You know what I'm trying to say here. Doing those hard things that you know that if you were to at least do that hard thing once or twice a week, or maybe 3 times a week, or maybe more, 5 times a week, that it would really help move the needle and get you to where you want to go. If that's you, what I would encourage you to do is, I want you to sit with the possibility of doing the hard thing. We're not going to do it necessarily. So let's say it's posting to social media. I want you to get your phone out, and I want you to say to yourself, I'm going to do this. Like right now, I'm going to do this. You're not necessarily going to do it yet, but I want you to pay attention to your body and how you feel. And what's the story that's running in your mind as you think about posting to social media? Is it, oh, this is going to take me so much time, or I just don't have time for this, or I don't know what to post, I have no idea, or I'm too tired, I can't do this because I'm way too tired? What's the story that's coming up? in your mind. And then I want you to feel into your body. Underneath the story, what's the feeling? That feeling, that resistance, that discomfort, that edge, getting comfortable with moving through that feeling is what is going to help you get any hard things done in your life that you have to do. So let yourself feel the feeling. Maybe it's a sense of insecurity when it comes to posting on social media. No one wants to listen to what I have to say, or this isn't going to go anywhere. The Instagram algorithm is against me, or I'm not good enough to do this. Who am I to charge this amount of money for my services? All of these feelings that come up underneath the story that you're telling yourself of why you can't do the thing. I want you to question yourself. Is this really true? Or is this just a story? I guarantee you it's likely just a story. And then I want you to feel the feeling underneath that story, whether it's grief, repressed anger, even a little bit of shame for being further behind in your eyes and your mind than where you would like to be. Navigating those complicated feelings is massive and will help you gain momentum, because as you get comfortable doing the hard things and paying attention to how you feel, the more safety you start to build within the body, within yourself. So that's a little bit of a tangent, but I feel like it really needed to be said, and I hope that helped you if that was really kind of lighting up for you in your own life, because we're going to get into this when we get into the energy update. We are in the midst of Virgo season, and the sign of Virgo is really all about structure and service and discipline and staying on top of maybe even doing some of the things that are a little bit more difficult. Virgos are very organized people. If you've ever met a Virgo in your life, they have a system for everything. They've got the to-do lists. They are really good at staying on top of things, and they've got an opinion about how they keep themselves organized, which is a really good thing. A discipline, really, we could use a lot of that in our own lives. So for those of us who don't have any Virgo representation in our birth charts, for me, I do not. So I love a Virgo in my life to help me get there. Anyway, I digress. But my point is that in the midst of Virgo season, especially as we head into eclipse season, it gives us an opportunity to lean into the structure again, to lean into the consistency and maybe a little bit of discipline again. There can be a lot of freedom that comes from having some structure, having some discipline. And trust me, I've Pisces. I've got 4 planets in Pisces. I'm an intuitive. I'm a free spirit. I love to just go with the flow. And I would prefer to just wake up when I feel like waking up and eating what I feel like eating and just doing what type of exercise I feel like doing on any particular day. But when I live my life that way, things actually for me start to go off the rails a little bit. So I have learned that I need to have a beautiful balance of both. And this is where we can really talk about masculine versus feminine energy. It's important to have that masculine structure and that feminine energy as well, the intuitive piece of things. Go back, if you haven't listened to it yet, make sure you check out the episode from last week with Cato who's a spiritual business astrologer and numerologist. She really talks about that concept a lot in depth. So definitely check out that episode if you haven't. But it's important to have a balance of both. And Virgo energy really gives us that masculine structure that's going to be very supportive of us when we start to move through the Pisces lunar eclipse halfway through the month, specifically on September 17th, towards the end of September. So anyway, we're going to get there. But just to give you a couple of other personal updates. So that was a little bit about what I'm working on this month. I'm also really stepping more deeply into my teacher archetype as a business owner. I love to teach. It's one of my favorite things in this whole world. I could teach people about this stuff all day long. It's literally my calling, it's my purpose. I love to teach on every spiritual topic I can get my hands on. So I've got some new things brewing of some new things that I'm going to be teaching this fall, which I'm really excited about, more to come. To give you a quick preview, what really happened for me over the Lionsgate portal on 8/8 was I was activated into a deeper sense of my galactic heritage, and a really was activated into a deeper calling for being a galactic teacher and getting ready to do deeper teaching around galactic information. By that, I mean teaching about starseed heritage, your cosmic and galactic connections, helping you discover where you are from and who you are connected with in terms of some of the different galactic groups. So I am really leaning into that and leaning into my channel more and more. I did a massive trans-channeled 8/8 Lionsgate activation for my membership, which was absolutely incredible. If you haven't listened to that yet, you can still, it was recorded and it's still relevant because a lot of the messages were preparing us for some of the big collective shifts that are going to be coming in 2025. And so I would definitely recommend that you get into the membership. I'll leave the link in the show notes. But that activation from the Lionsgate portal was so expansive and so impactful for me and for everyone who is able to either join us live or watch the replay. And that really opened me up to a lot of these different things that I've been talking about during this episode so far. And I never thought, truly, when I wanted to be a fitness coach at the end of 2019, I never thought that I would be teaching about galactic stuff and talking about aliens on a podcast. I couldn't have even imagined that, or I didn't even know anything about that in 2019. And yet here we are. And isn't life funny? And doesn't life lead us into interesting places? So with that being said, I'm stepping into that and I'm claiming my ownership of being a galactic master teacher. And I can't wait to lead you on that journey and have you be by my side on that journey as well. So more on that to come, more podcast episodes on that to come, lots to come on that. But that's sort of what I've been cooking up over here. I know it's a really great time of year to step into a course or mentorship because I've done it. So listen, like I'm right along with you. I'm all about investing in myself. And so I would love to also invite you into a few ways that we can work together during this fall season if you are ready to take those next steps towards your own personal transformation. So I have the Akashic Records certification. We begin on September 24th. So you definitely want to check that out because it's the last time I will be leading this course live before 2025. So if you want to learn with me live, please check it out. If you're someone who prefers to watch recordings and go through a course on your own time, you can absolutely purchase the course and everything is pre-recorded. So you can go ahead and watch the recorded trainings on your own if that's something that you want to do. But it's more fun to participate with the live group because then you get live coaching from me and we have a live group chat and we do practice together live on the Zoom calls. So participating in the live version of the mentorship is that much more expansive. So if you want to participate in that live round, again, we start on September 24th. So make sure you check that out. Link will be in the show notes. It is also the last chance for you to sign up for the fairy retreat at the beginning of October. So we still have a room available, and I would absolutely love for you to spend time with me in person in Asheville, North Carolina, the first weekend of October. I will leave more information about that in the show notes below if you want an in-person transformational experience and want to connect with your inner child and the fairies and see me channel live, and do fun activities and hang out and meet new friends, meet like-minded soul sisters. That retreat is going to be amazing. So check that out as well. I will also be teaching light language again. So that is going to begin in October. So if you want to join the October round of the light language mentorship, I will leave the link for that below in the show notes. And finally, I am wrapping up some one-on-one mentorships. Now, I don't often advertise one-on-one private mentorships because those spots tend to fill pretty quickly, and I am very dedicated to my one-on-one private clients. It's the highest level of working with me. And so it is a bit of an investment, but it is a worthwhile investment because you see all aspects of yourself and your life change, and we do some deep work together. And I pour a lot of time and energy and effort into you, and I become lifelong friends with my one-on-one people. So I do have a few spots opening for one-on-one with people who started with me at the beginning of this year and who are wrapping up their time together with me. So if you want to apply for one-on-one mentorship and you want to be a one-on-one client of mine, oh my God, can you imagine? Can you imagine what would unfold for you? You don't need to be an entrepreneur, although you can be, because I work with all types of new paradigm leaders, people who know that they're here to create change, massive change on this planet. Even if you don't know what that is yet, but you know that you've got a big purpose here, I would love to help you uncover that. That's my specialty. That's what I'm great at. And also help you heal from all aspects of your life so that you can do some of the hard things like I've spoken about today. We help get you to a really good place so that you feel so self-led on your own journey, like you can just take the reins of your life into your own hands and go off into the world and create whatever it is that you want to create. So I will leave the link for the application for my one-on-one mentorship in the show notes as well, if that seems like it's really calling your name. So that's a lot of updates, but I feel like it helps kind of create a precursor of what's going to be coming down the pipeline for us in September of this year. I mean, I know for me personally, I tend to move through these things right along with you guys and sometimes ahead of you so that I know what to expect and what to share with you of what could be happening. So the month of September, we're entering into this transformational corridor of the year. The eclipse season portals happen twice a year, fall and spring, and we just moved through the eclipse season in the spring of this year around April, and now eclipse season is happening a little earlier than last year. So it'll be out of the way by the beginning of October. Last year, eclipse season was during the month of October to the beginning of November. So it's happening a little bit earlier this year, and that's because we are getting ready for the nodes to change signs at the beginning of 2025. So this is our first eclipse in Pisces. I just told you I've got 4 planets in Pisces at the beginning of this episode. So this eclipse, here's the thing, you guys. I am excited. Dare I say, I'm excited about this eclipse because it's going to be really highly transformational and brings in the flavor of Pisces, which is all about mysticism and intuition and spirituality and all of the things that I talk about, that I embody. That's what this eclipse is really going to bring about. And because the nodes are changing signs at the beginning of 2025, we're going to have Pisces Virgo eclipses next year in 2025. So this is going to give us a preview of what the eclipse season sort of book is going to bring about for you starting now, moving into next year. So there was a whole storyline around the Aries Libra eclipses that took place at the end of 2023 into the beginning of this year in 2024. So for me, I moved through a whole storyline around that eclipse season. Again, if you want to take a look back at what was happening in your life in October of 2023, you may have seen that sort of storyline kind of come to fruition or come to a head or come to a big part of the journey during the spring, April specifically, of 2024. So this Pisces eclipse is starting that new eclipse storyline that's going to continue into next year. And I am here for it because, again, Pisces is super spiritual. So to me, and what the guides were sharing with me is like, this is going to lead to some really big spiritual transformation for many, many, many of us, especially you if you're listening to this podcast. So this could bring about a whole new kind of connection to your gifts, a whole new level of you embracing your spiritual self. The guides were showing me a vision of being like a snake shedding its skin during eclipse season, during this time of the year. So we are going to be kind of shedding that skin and letting go of old programming, conditioning, parts of ourselves, worries, fears, doubts, insecurities that relate to our spiritual nature, that relate to who we really are. It's a deeper level of connecting with the authentic self. And what they're saying to me right now is, for some of you, that's going to be a big change in identity. You may even notice this with people in your personal life who aren't people that would listen to this podcast, but you may, again, this is the beginning of a story that's going to continue into 2025. But this may create an inkling for people in your life around their own spiritual nature. This may be a push for people with connecting to their faith again, with reconnecting to a higher power, with connecting to something outside of themselves. So with that being said, this eclipse portal is going to be highly transformational from that spiritual lens, inviting you into shedding an old identity, perhaps an old ego belief about who you thought you were, and moving into, like, maybe for some of you, that's like coming out of the spiritual closet. Your parents know what they know about your spiritual gifts. They know that maybe you're doing readings for people and you're not telling the people in your family, you're hiding it from them. Or maybe you haven't, had that conversation with a spouse or loved one about wanting to start a spiritual business. I feel like there's going to be a big shift around that for a lot of people. And maybe it's moving into a deeper level of that for you, claiming ownership over your spiritual nature. And in the collective, I feel like, because obviously our collective, there's so many religions out there in the world. So in terms of the collective, I'm really interested to see what happens around this eclipse. But for some reason, I feel like, and who knows if this is going to happen or not, but just a random prediction that's kind of coming up for me is, I feel like the Pope is going to get involved with something this month. I don't know what that's going to be. Maybe he's endorsing one political candidate over the other. Here, we're in the midst of election season in the United States. So I feel like there's going to be this like some interesting religious things that happen around this eclipse season that are going to start a bigger storyline that takes place next year. But I would look out for that. And I would look out for the kind of collective tone when it comes to religion and also spirituality. And that may mean too, that people out there, even in the spiritual space, who aren't real, who aren't authentic, maybe they're getting exposed, or maybe they're stepping into something else. What I find really interesting, what I find really fascinating are the people who have a spiritual awakening. There's this like spiritual awakening to Christianity pipeline that I find really fascinating. So the people who sort of have a come to Jesus experience and denounce all spirituality in favor of a very Christian mindset. And there's nothing wrong with Christianity. Like, Christianity is such a beautiful faith for so many people. I am not here to talk badly about it, but I do find it really fascinating when people go on this sort of high consciousness journey when it comes to spirituality, and it leads them to this sort of different level of faith or connection, in Jesus specifically. So that, that's really interesting. But anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent. What I'm trying to say here is that there's going to be some shakeups and things when it comes to religion, spirituality, and perhaps for you, that's shedding layers of old versions of yourself, maybe getting real with the people in your life. Maybe that's having another spiritual awakening, a whole new level of transformation in your own life. So that's what's going to be happening during this Pisces lunar eclipse at the end of September, September 17th. It's happening overnight, so September 17th into the 18th. And then leading up to that, we're in the midst of Virgo season. Mercury has finally gone out of retrograde. Finally, thank God. I don't know about you, but this Mercury retrograde was, whew, it was a lot. It was hot and heavy, as the guide said it would be for the August forecast. And finally, Mercury will be fully out of its shadow by September 11th. So that means that with Mercury back normal, transiting as normal, that a lot of the things in your life that may have been put on hold or may have slowed down or may have felt kind of wonky are going to finally start moving again. For me, Mercury retrogrades can be a bit about revising things and being shown very clearly what's not working for me. So a really good example of that was this month, August. I was shown there's so many things in my business that I would get so much time back if I handed them off to someone else. And I was very clearly shown, like, Emily, you can't keep being a solopreneur with a couple of people helping you. You need more help. You need to hire someone new. You can't just keep doing everything. So I found a soul sister who is going to be a new team member here on the Emily with the Mystic team, which I am so excited about. And she happens to be a Virgo. So it's like literally this, it's so kismet, like so divinely timed and aligned. And Mercury retrograde was showing me like, you can't keep running your business this way. You need to hire someone new. And I find that fascinating because typically in popular culture, we're taught Mercury retrograde shows us or we should proceed with Mercury retrograde by holding back on signing contracts and making big decisions and things. But for me, it's like we're shown what's not working and then opportunities to do something that's going to help fix the parts that are broken. So that's really what the big story of my retrograde was all about. And what I'm trying to say here is that as we move into September, all systems go. Mercury is no longer retrograde. There are still going to be a few planets in retrograde. And in fact, Pluto is going to be retrograding starting September 1st, but that is a collective planet. So we're going to see that the effects of that more on a collective level than on a personal level. But I want you to keep in mind that the first few weeks of September are going to be an opportunity to be in that Virgo divine masculine structure, to really get yourself back on track. If you were kind of floating through life like I was in June and July and some of August, it's kind of time to get that earthly, because Virgo's an earth sign, that earth sort of grounded energy back again. And that can feel really good to get back into a routine. So getting yourself into that routine again, listening to your intuition with what you're being guided to do on a consistent basis, making those changes, it's going to really get you into a good place so that you feel safe and held when this eclipse comes our way. And then is followed up by our solar eclipse of the season on October 2nd, which is happening in the sign of Libra, and is going to be one of our final eclipses from this Aries Libra storyline, again, that's been happening since last year, 2023. So there's going to be sort of a culmination, a wrapping up. Perhaps things are going to be ending. There's going to be some transformation again. So it'll be really interesting to see what this eclipse season represents for you. What is beginning? That's going to be a storyline that kind of carries you through into next year. And what is ending? What is wrapping up? How is that storyline coming to a completion point as of the end of what was beginning for you last year? I hope that makes sense. So be really present with yourself. Again, pay attention to your body. Listen to your body. What is it telling you? What's the feeling? Feel the feeling. I have a couple of eclipse survival guide videos on my YouTube channel that are so valuable. There's so much tips and tricks and hacks and techniques and things for moving through eclipse season that you definitely need to check out, especially if you've never been through or you've never consciously been aware of eclipse season before. We've all moved through them. And you've been moving through them since you were born. Maybe you haven't been aware of it yet. So checking out these videos with my tips and tricks can really help get you prepared and ready to go. But above all else, I don't want you to have fear about these things. I want you to see it as, and this is connecting us to what I was sharing at the beginning of the episode, that personal growth, that doing the hard things helps create massive momentum. And on the other side of doing the hard things, you feel so freaking good. You're like, whoa, I feel amazing because I just, paid the credit card bill that I've been avoiding, and I feel so great taking care of that. Or I have been meaning to clear out my pantry for months and months, and I finally get around to it, and you're like, whoa, this feels great. Like, I want to organize more cabinets in my house. So remember that doing the hard things, although it feels uncomfortable in the moment, pays off in spades. And that's really what I want you to be attuned to this month, is how you can hold space for yourself to navigate the transformation, the hard emotions that may come up, the discomfort, knowing that you're going to shed those layers of skin like the beautiful transformational kundalini snake that you are, and come out on the other side a whole new divine version of you, as all eclipse seasons do. So don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Embrace the transformation. By the way, this is coming from someone who has a North Node North Node in Scorpio, and I've got a Scorpio stellium. I've got 3 planets in Scorpio, so I am all about the depths and the transformation and the personal growth. So take it from me. I've made my whole life's work about this. Take it from me. It's uncomfortable as heck, and we live in a society that wants us to stay comfortable and numbed out and doing the same thing for our whole lives. So this is a radical way of living. It's a radical lifestyle, but it feels freaking amazing. And you gain so much confidence in yourself, and you gain so many leadership skills, and you feel like no matter what comes up in your life, the hard things that happen, that you can tackle them, or at least hold space for yourself to feel the feelings that come up. Woo! Wow! Was that a powerful episode and channeled transmission, you guys? Oh my goodness. Thank you for being here with me and enjoying the space with me. So with all of that being said, I am now going to do a little personal forecast for you. So I felt really called today to use a new Oracle card deck that I just got. And the timing is pretty on par here. We're a little bit off, but I still want to use this deck. So I am a huge fan of the Seasons of the Witch deck. I've been collecting them since these decks first started coming out a couple years ago. So I'm using the Lammas Oracle. Lammas is the celebration of the beginning of the harvest season on August 1st. And so this is coming out in September, so it's still valid. We will be moving into the fall equinox on, I believe, September 21st. So again, big transformation, big growth, big seasonal shift. And what I want to say before I kind of get into this segment of the personal forecast is that, connecting us back to what I was saying at the beginning, how can you hold space for yourself in moments of transition? If you struggle with transition, if you struggle with change, how can you be a little bit kinder to yourself at this time of the year when we are wrapping up the summer and heading into the fall? Can you get excited for the fall things? Can you let yourself grieve the end of summer? Can you hold maybe a little seasonal ceremony, a ritual for yourself where you're grieving the end of summer and welcoming in fall by setting intentions for yourself? So it's a really beautiful change in time of year. And ultimately, it helps us harvest more abundance, because that's what fall is all about. It's about the harvest. So anyway, this deck, the Lammas Oracle, is about preparing us for the harvest season and that abundance that comes with it. And abundance really comes especially in transformation. So Ooh, we love it. We love it. So here's what we're going to do. You are going to be invited to use your intuition. And I'm going to give you a choice of 3 colors. And I want you to pick the color that resonates the most with you in this moment in time listening to this episode. Don't pick your favorite color. Pick the color that resonates the most with you right now. So it may not be your favorite color, and that's okay, but you're going to get the message that you need by picking the color that feels the best to you. So there are 3 colors. The 3 colors are blue, orange, purple. Okay, those are the 3 colors. Blue, orange, purple. I'm going to invite you to pick your color. By the way, these have no correlation to the chakras. Happen to be the colors of 3 of the chakras, but blue, orange, purple. Okay, so hopefully you have your color picked by now, because now I'm going to reveal the corresponding card that goes with the particular color that you chose. And you're going to get a message. So if you chose the color blue, your message is from this card, Coming of Fall. Card number 7, Coming of Fall. If you're watching this on YouTube, I've got the video with the image of the card here if you want to see what it looks like. Coming of Fall, card number 7. Let the spark of hope within you ignite and never cease, for it is never too late to manifest your dreams. So I'm going to read to you what the guidebook says. I am not super familiar with this deck yet because it just arrived the other day, but immediately, kind of as I feel into this, it's all about preparing yourself for making a change, making a shift in your life, that it's not too late to start. It's never too late to start anything. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm too far behind, or I'm too old, or, I can't do this because of all these reasons that we come up with. Remember, again, I was saying at the beginning of this episode, that's a story that you tell yourself. So what if this is the perfect time? What if this is the perfect time for you to start the thing? So let's see what the definition says here in the guidebook. Coming of Fall. Lammas marks the first of 3 harvests together with Mabon, which is the fall equinox, and Samhain, which is Halloween. While summer is beginning to wane, and with it the growing season, there is still plenty of time to plant, nourish, and grow fruits and vegetables to take you well into autumn. You have pulled this card because all is not lost, and you can work towards your goals with enough time to see them come to fruition. Even if you have not been successful up to this point, there is still time to turn things around and use your past experiences to your advantage. This is your second chance, your moment to say yes, even when you want to throw in the towel. Receiving this card is your confirmation that it's not too late. Your age, level of experience, or the breadth of your mistakes are not reasons to wither away without experiencing the joy of seeing your desires manifested. Whether you'd like to start a new business or breathe life into an existing one, entertain a second career, or embrace a fresh relationship, there is still so much in you to give. Ultimately, this card is your soul's plea not to give up because you're almost there. Ooh, I love that. Oh, I needed to hear that. That's beautiful. So it's never too late to start something new, and it's never too late to keep going. Especially sometimes we start a project and then we forget about it. We move on to other things. We get distracted. What if everything was divinely timed? And what if it was the perfect time for you to get back to that project that you put away? It's always the perfect time for you to begin something new or to keep going. So keep going. Keep going. You got this. I love that message. Beautiful. So that was for the blue. Next color is orange. So if you chose orange, here is your card and your message. Isn't this fun? Super fun. Vegetable garden, card number 41. Vegetable garden. Keywords: advancing towards goals, evaluating progress, consistent effort. It's time to check in with and reflect on the seeds you have planted. So to me, this card is the consistency card. This message is for those of you who are being told to just, again, keep going. I feel like the card before this is more about like the divine timing. This is more of a card of like that consistent work. We need to stay consistent with what we need to do. So, planting a vegetable garden requires consistent work, evaluation, and adjustment. You cannot simply plant a few seeds and hope they will grow. You may need to alter your water and fertilizing schedule, add or take away mulch, stay vigilant for pests, and clear out any weeds that crop up between spaces. Your goals require similar evaluation, and now is an excellent time to check in with your goals and reflect on your progress. When this card appears, ask yourself whether you are heading in the right direction or need to make some adjustments. Are your goals still accurate for the person you want to be? It isn't enough to keep throwing energy at something if the effort isn't worth the reward, or if you are chasing outdated desires that no longer apply. Likewise, pulling this card can mean you have been distracted from your true desires. Perhaps you're spending too much time investing in someone else's garden to the detriment of your own. Take time in the coming days to reflect on what is needed to continue along your path towards success. Oh gosh, I love this too. So it's about consistency. It's about adjusting your goals. It's about revising. So this is kind of like a Mercury retrograde energy a little bit in a good way. Like, let's reflect, renew, revise what we're doing. And also, let's make sure that our desires are authentic to us and what we actually want and not the wants and desires of someone else. That's a beautiful message for our people who selected orange. And finally, our purple people. Our purple people. If you selected purple, you got the wheat and grains card number 44. Ooh, angel number 44. We love that. Wheat and grains. Keywords: success, bounty, and good fortune. You reap what you sow. Good fortune is on the way. Yeah, so this is the manifestation piece of things. We love this. This card is confirmation that you are in a period of growth and harvest, or you will be very soon. A dream is on the cusp of manifestation, and cause for celebration is in order. You are being guided to make the best of your newfound fortune. Don't question the seemingly good luck that has dropped in your lap, for it is not luck at all, but a result of your willingness to heal, evolve, adapt, and trust. Just as wheat and grains become flours and breads, you too can expect your success to continue to evolve and open up additional pathways to expansion and prosperity. This is not momentary bliss, and you can be sure the rewards of your efforts will be the gift that keeps on giving. However, be mindful not to hoard your blessings. What can last for a very long time, but it doesn't... Excuse me. Wheat can last for a very long time, but it does have a shelf life and can spoil or grow mold if left for too long. It can also lose its nourishment if it is not stored and cared for properly. The same is true for wealth and achievement. Don't rest on your laurels or fail to make the most of what you have. This is not the end of your journey, but the ingredients for the start of a new one. Ah, yay! And that's the final card in the deck, too. So things coming to culmination and fruition and abundance. Beautiful. I hope you enjoyed your personal message, and that's just to provide a flavor of what to expect during the month ahead of September, or some guidance on things that you need to focus on. So I hope that resonates with you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being on the ride with me. I so appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you rate this podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. It helps this podcast become more widely available to people like you. So I appreciate you so much. And all the links will be in the show notes below for some of the resources I mentioned throughout the course of this video. I'm sending you love for a fruitful, abundant, and transformative September ahead. Remember to feel your feelings, remember to hold space for yourself, and remember that transformational is pivotal for massive growth in your life. So I'm sending you love and huge hugs, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.